You are now listening to Fight Life Unfiltered.
You want a weird facial hair? That's on you, huh?
I was like, got to do something different.
Do you?
You don't actually. You don't have to
If
do
it's
something
working
different.
for you, you
If
don't
it's
have to change.
working, I was like, I don't have hair to do anything cool.
Hmm.
So I was like, let's just go. I think everybody, if you're listening, you can go watch it on YouTube, by the way. You could go to the YouTube channel that we need people to go and subscribe to.
Oh yeah.
Join the club. Clips are banging.
Are you
But
having a midlife crisis?
midlife. Actually, no, I'm not having a midlife crisis, but I actually thought about that phrase the other day because for the first time, I think in my life, I actually realized that I am at the middle point of my life.
Yeah.
For the longest time, was like, oh, I'm like a third of the way through my life, or two-thirds of the way through my life, or a fourth of the way through my life. And I was like, I'm almost 40. Do I expect to live to like 120? Because I'm probably halfway there.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
but no midlife crisis. Not yet.
Might be the start.
Might be the start. I wonder why people haven't. I don't think it's possible for me to. I do too much stuff.
Yeah, I honestly don't even think you'd be halfway. You're a pretty healthy guy, you
Yeah,
know?
I want to live to be 100. Knock on wood. What about you, Pat?
Yeah,
You're almost 100.
I'm almost 100, so I'm halfway to 100.
It's actually pretty cool to have somebody here that's older than me, and yet he still fucks me up all the time.
Yeah, Pat's a fucking dog.
He is a dog, the dirty dog.
The dirty dog.
According to Mike,
Absolutely.
pulled that out.
The
Yeah,
dirty
no,
dog.
dude.
Is that where that nickname came from?
Yeah, Mike just like the first time I like a belt promotion. That's what Mike like just gave me that nickname right out of the
What belt promotion? Your blue
Purple.
belt or your purple belt?
yeah. Purple
Okay.
belt. That was the first time I'd heard that.
You just got your purple belt, right? Same
Yeah,
belt promotions.
yeah. A couple months
Okay.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it when you got yours.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I thought.
Yeah.
That's the wrist locking king of stout. I've heard.
I got my first black belt the other day.
Did you?
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
No names.
Yeah, we won't.
No,
We'll leave
I
the name
can't, I
out.
can't say that.
I have an idea.
I hope it was Mike.
I wanted to ask you when I was trying to. I wanted to ask you, and you actually too. You wrist lock me more times than I'd like to admit. Do you think that somebody could win a fight, like an MMA fight, with a wrist lock?
I mean,
Obviously you could, but
have.
like,
With the way the gloves are and the tape, it'd be hard. It'd be
I didn't
hard.
think about that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that would impede on it. But I would say people's jujitsu knowledge isn't very high in MMA typically, so you definitely could if that wasn't involved. But with the glove and the way it's taped, it'd be pretty damn hard.
Would you feel some sort of way about that person if they tap to a wrist lock?
I
In a
wouldn't. I wouldn't.
It's
Joint-
breaking. It's breaking.
Yeah, joint locks. Joint locks are the ones that like it's okay to tap to because it's gonna break. Chokes, I don't really.
Got to go out.
Yeah, you kind of got to go out. I mean, you can tap.
Is there an excuse to tap to like a rear naked choke in an MMA fight with something heavy on the line?
I mean, with something, the thing is, like, a rear naked choke might be the only exception because you're dead to rights. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of times people will tap like you're going out and you're like going out and your body taps for you. But I think a rear naked choke might be the only exception because, like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? But if you're in like a guillotine or something,
should be fighting them.
yeah. What's your hand? What's your other hand doing? If I'm tapping, what's my other hand doing? But I don't know. The wrist lock might not be. There definitely wouldn't be my go-to in an MMA fight. Might be Pat's though.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
it definitely is Pat's.
Since I know nothing about striking, I would definitely be
He's just trying to catch hands.
The problem is like it's such a setup for him. Like Pat's gotten really good at the wrist lock to the point where as soon as he's on his back, if I go to try to pass his guard, I'm instantly in my mind like, okay, he's going to wrist lock me. And then
Yeah.
it starts to consume my brain power and it keeps me from being offensive because I'm even in an offensive position, I'm in a defensive mind when I'm rolling with him often. And it's very frustrating. And then I ended up having to tape my fingers because I'm constantly moving and I get my hand caught in my gi the one time and dislocated in my finger. And it's just like, I'm
You
like,
just show up to open mat with your wrist just completely fucking taped. That would be so funny.
yeah, right. Absolutely.
Damn.
No, but you don't need wrist locks because you brought a toy.
Yeah, I did. In fact, I left it over here. I can go there. But I asked Pete the Greek about the MMA wrist lock, and he said the same thing. He said he thinks while it's possible, he's like with the gloves and the tape, he's like it's highly unlikely.
The best place I would imagine you get is like already in another submission. Like you're in like a Kimura and then somebody rips on that. That'd be the only place, but you're not gonna just straight wrist lock somebody at guard.
Yeah. I
They
didn't
could
think
also
about the
punch you.
tape.
Yeah.
I was thinking more just like, don't be a bitch.
No. Oh, we pulling out guns, eh?
Yeah. So this is a launcher. It's Byrna. You might have heard of them. It's a CO2 powered self-defense launcher. So it's an alternative, less lethal alternative to a pistol.
Oh, okay. So it's a CO2.
Yeah. So it uses this one uses a 12 gram CO or an 8 gram CO2 cartridge. And this is a brand new model they came out with. This is
It's like
their
an
first.
airsoft gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a very
aggressive airsoft.
yeah, that's wild.
So,
So
and-
light.
I know that was the thing I
That's
noticed.
wild.
And they just came. This is the first one that's
Crazy.
small enough to be concealed carry. They have a couple different models that are larger. That
Did you touch it?
Yeah. Do they make holsters for it?
yeah. So
I kind of like that. Wait, so all right. For self-defense, let's say, what does it do? It's like somebody's walking up on you, you shoot them. It's
Right.
not gonna.
right, it's not going to kill them,
That's
but
good.
it hits hard enough. Like this one will break out a car window if you hit it with it's shooting at about 400 feet per second, and it'll shoot out a car window.
Break a rib.
Yeah, it would leave a definite mark. It's funny. The previous version shot a 61 or 68 caliber, the same size as a paintball gun round. These shoot a 61 caliber, so it's a slightly smaller round. But the kinetic round is. I had one that was open here. Yeah,
Yeah, I was holding one.
I know.
Where do these like range price wise compare?
So yeah, so they're about the same as a regular
like
pistol.
4 or 5
Yeah,
bucks.
so they start about 400 and they go up to about 550. So
How many rounds does it hold at once? Just one?
no, so has a clip, so you can drop it. Like, it works just like a regular pistol. You can drop the clip out of the bottom
Is this
of
the
it.
bullet?
Yeah, so these are the
Is it a
rounds.
rubber bullet?
It's a hard plastic kinetic round, and then it's also a pepper. They have a one that's kind of like a paintball, except that has a tear gas inside of it. So when it breaks, it's a powder that's a tear gas powder that makes like a 6-foot cloud of powder when it hits you, and it breaks open. Yeah, so they just load just like a regular magazine.
Justin was just saying he could like take a plastic bullet recently.
So-
He was saying it wouldn't hurt him at all.
So yeah, so they it's interesting. So Byrna, the 68 caliber rounds, the guys on YouTube like, will get shot with them and stuff for their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm good.
And so when they sent out these to their influencers, they basically told them, we don't recommend you get shot with this.
They break bones.
Yeah, because this one will go through 1/2-inch plywood at about 20 feet. It'll go right through it.
You know,
Can't be that bad.
yeah, I don't think I should. I would be fucking around. Like, because I know it's not lethal, it would almost become more. It's like it's like you don't want to play with a dull knife, right? Dull knives are, more dangerous. Obviously this one will kill you, but that's awesome. I love this. I love the idea of it. I think it should be like you know, like a learning gun,
And
kind
it's
of.
semi-automatic.
Semi-automatic, it holds 5 shots in the clip, 1 in the chamber, and a CO2 cartridge. The kind of the Byrna, they have a patent on that the CO2 cartridge loads underneath the barrel, but it doesn't actually puncture until you pull the trigger for the first time. So you can leave it ready to go indefinitely, and then when you need it, you pull the trigger and you got a full CO2 cartridge. Because the problem is once this cartridge gets pierced,
It'll slowly
it'll
leak a
slowly
little
after
bit.
about a day or so, it'll
Gotta
be
change it.
completely dead. Yeah, but you can leave it ready to go.
Yeah. And you're not
unchanged.
you're not going to
makes
be
sense.
doing that for like target practice as much as a regular gun. It's more of a your wife throws it in her purse or
Yeah.
I mean that's what I'm thinking. It'd be
Yeah.
great
And you
to
can
get
and
that
you
for
can
my-
use it for target practice. I mean, it has no kick to it.
Have you shot it yet?
So, yeah. Oh yeah.
Is
So-
it like accurate?
Yeah, they're accurate. They're accurate up at about 40 feet. They have about 40, 50 foot
Yeah.
range. At about 30, 40 feet, you can hit you'll hit a target about that big round. So
Good self-defense gun. I wonder
Yeah.
what like. How old's your daughter?
17.
So,
So
yeah.
you have to be 18 though.
That's what I was
Yeah.
wondering. I
You have
feel
to
like
be
it'd be like
18
a
though.
good.
Dude,
And
I don't think she needs one.
Yeah, she's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
she's got herself together on the mat. I seen her kicking and punching the other day.
Yeah.
Fucking poor dude that was going with her was like, what the hell?
Damn.
Yeah, she's working to do she's trying to get a boxing match.
Really?
Yeah. So she wants
A
to
boxing, just straight boxing.
just straight boxing.
Oh,
So
geez.
that's what
Is
she wants.
she gonna train while she's in college?
Yeah, she'll be going to Penn State, Maine, and there's a gym just off campus
She
there.
ain't gonna go train with Bo Nicholas.
She could go buy fuck that. She could go box at Penn State. Will box at Penn State.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Will was like their team captain for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Like a club team, or is it?
Yeah, it's a club
Yeah.
team, but it's
Yeah.
like one of the best in the country.
Huh.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Moose, Bo Nichols, like main training partner, he boxed there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Lockhaven University had a really good boxing program.
Yeah, it's club, but like they'll compete against
It was like big time.
yeah, they'll compete
club.
against like Navy and Army and stuff. Will
Yeah.
obviously would know more about it, but Will
Yeah.
competed at a really high level. He almost All-American. Ohio State had a really good
Wow.
boxing team. I used to train with those guys.
How old is Will? he my age?
30
He's younger than me.
to
Okay.
4,
30.
30 something.
I had a student teacher in high school, and it's interesting. His last name is Stout, and he's from like Center, PA, and he looks like the Stouts. And I've brought it up to Warren. I'm like, "Do you know John Stout?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "You're sure you're not related?" Because he was a Lockhaven boxer, and now he coaches at Lockhaven Club Boxing, and he was a national champ. He's who actually got me into striking and things like a long time ago, and got me introduced to the fight gym over in Salamanca when I was fighting. And I was like, to me, it's very odd that you guys look alike. He looks like a shorter, thinner version of Logan. Like they could be cousins for sure. Probably are.
Stout's a pretty popular name. There's two wrestlers and wrestler. They're brothers.
Yeah.
They wrestled each other.
One's
in
at
NPAs.
Pitt, right?
One is at Pitt, and one's at Princeton. Yeah.
Yes. They wrestled each
Matt-
other.
Yeah, Matt. I forget their names. Luke is one of them. Luke, maybe.
Are they from Mount Lebanon area? Or live in Lebanon area?
Could have been.
I think so.
Could have been. But they're around here. I've seen one of them at the gym.
Not related.
Yeah, not related.
That's wild.
Yeah. Alan Lou brought one of them, I believe, one time.
Really?
Yeah.
Alan Lou.
Yeah.
Do you ever keep in touch with him?
I'll talk to him occasionally. We've never really been super close, but
Yeah.
he left before I came here, but I've known him for a while. I've known him for
Okay.
years. Yeah.
Interesting cat.
Definitely an interesting guy.
How did you get involved with this?
So, well,
What's going on here?
yeah, so I started off, I bought some, I was casually, when I say casually, involved in a road rage incident where a
Wait,
guy
hold on.
started,
Hold on, you get casually involved in a road rage
well,
incident?
I didn't engage. So the other guy was involved in the road rage incident
Mm.
at me. It was just on Route 19 in Cranberry. He was in the turning lane in the center, and I was coming down. And for some reason, he thought I should stop in the main lane and let him merge in instead of just waiting till there was a break in traffic. So I went by him, and then when we pulled up to the next red light, he pulls up beside me, rolls down his window, starts yelling, screaming at me, saying, "I'm lucky he didn't bring his gun with him because he would shoot me." and just acting like an asshole.
What kind of car?
It was just some little beater sedan. It
Oh,
was
okay.
like
That
it
makes
was,
sense.
and so and my wife was in the car with me, and we were both kind of like, and we have our concealed carry permits and things, and so uh, we after that thing we started talking, and we are like, in a situation like that, if he had gotten out of the car, would we have pulled our gun? Like, were we going to shoot that guy dead just because he's, you know,
Being
being
a
a
dick, having a
yeah.
bad day.
Yeah, and it's like you could, but then you're dealing with all the fallout of that too. And like, was it justified? Was it not justified?
Mm.
And so that's when, and I had heard about these, but we decided to get the Byrnas and just to have one in the car, because if that guy comes at me and I've got this with pepper spray or kinetic round in it, I have no trouble popping off a couple of those to just
Diffuse the situation and get out of
yeah,
there.
and get out of there and keep him off of me. And so that's how I originally, we bought a couple for us. And then we found out that they were opening up distributorships, and we were looking for another business opportunity. So then we decided to start a company selling them, and we're actually working on opening up our retail location, which is going to be open up here in a couple months towards the end of the summer. Yeah, for Byrna. So
Oh wow, that's
So,
sick.
yeah, so
I
we're
love that.
going to be selling these. It's actually right up in Zelienople. We're going to have a brick and mortar retail location where you'll be able to come in, try them out, demo
Have like a
them.
range,
Yeah, have a range in
very
the back.
cool.
It's not a range, it's a demo
a
area.
demo area.
Not allowed to use they try avoid the shooting terms, but it's a demo area where you can come in and test them out.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
And also like it looks like a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you pull it out, obviously like people are gonna be
Looks like a
is-
badass gun with that
Yeah, it
barrel.
looks
Yeah.
You stare down
like
the.
scary gun.
Yeah.
Would you have to have like an airsoft gun, like a orange tip on it for it to
No, this is they do sell them in orange. You can buy them where they're orange, come like completely in orange.
I
But
would
then
almost want it to be orange.
so yeah,
Okay.
they have that's just more personal preference. There's no they're classified as an air gun, so as long as you're 18, there's no laws and regulations around carrying that in any of the 50 states. You can actually even carry it in your checked luggage on an airplane. You can't, obviously you have to have the CO2 separate, but you can throw that. So if you're traveling somewhere, either in your vehicle or, just flying somewhere, one of my brothers does a lot of business in California. And so he's traveling to California and he'll carry that in his checked luggage. So he has something with him because, they have all kinds of crazy laws there. You can't
Yeah,
go carry in California. So
that's dude, I love this idea.
That idea in and of itself is really like to travel.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. I feel like once a month I see something on the news about somebody getting stopped at TSA at the Pittsburgh airport with a loaded handgun. And I'm like, how did you forget that gun was in your bag?
Yeah, hey,
Or
when
were
that
you
happens.
really trying to get on the airplane with a loaded gun?
Hey, when that happens.
yeah.
Dude, I get so scared when I'm at TSA. Like I'm like I like check my bag like 5 times before I'm like, do I have any pills or anything? I'm just like tossing stuff in the trash can I probably could have got through. I just like don't want to be the guy that ends up getting pulled. I used to get stopped every single time too.
Smuggled so much shit on an airplane, dude.
Yeah, that's something I'm just like.
And then California changed the law when they had recreational cannabis, where they said, we're not going to stop you because it's legal. We're not going to arrest you or throw away your shit, but you're responsible for what happens when you get to the other side. And I was like, I was in California a lot because of business that I was doing, and it was directly tied to the cannabis space. And I'm thinking, well, they're not going to be waiting for me in Pittsburgh when I get off the airplane. So it would be like, how much weed can I get into my bag without like causing too much of a stink, literally and figuratively?
Yeah, that's not something maybe I'll try it. I'm flying out on Monday.
Yeah. You going down to Florida?
Give it a shot. Yeah.
I was digging through. The reason I got here, I was, in full disclosure, I'm always late. I was here before both of you, but I thought I was late.
I'm never late.
I did tell you 9:15.
I was told Pat 9, so it's on me.
I was looking for my Rumble Time shirt I was going to bring you because I'm going to dig through. When do you fly out?
Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fly out Monday
I'll
at 5.
try to find it, and if I can get it to you. I was like, I can't have him go down to Killcliff and not have a fucking Rumble Time coffee shirt on.
That'd be funny.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure they'll all like no. I mean,
Dude, I sent so much shit to everybody down there.
oh
So,
really?
oh yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
sick. Yeah.
absolutely.
Warren was thinking about going because Vermont's supposed to go to ATT, I guess, around the same time. Warren was thinking about going. I don't know if he's going or not anymore, but just for like a day or two.
Just to hang out.
Yeah. But I'll be there Monday. I get there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fly out Saturday or Saturday night.
You fly back to Pittsburgh, or you fly?
Fly
When's
back to
your
Pittsburgh
Atlantic City?
the following week.
The following week.
Yeah. So the following Friday I compete. It's gonna be the last pod for a couple weeks. Had to get it in.
Hell yeah.
I was supposed to be doing fight to win last week. That's why we didn't do one.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, I got in trouble. Because I wake up and I'm like, my manager texts me, he's like, "What are you doing tonight?" I was like, "Grappling match." It's like, "Oh yeah, you're not allowed." I was like, "I didn't read the contract. My bad."
What did they were they worried about you getting injured?
I assume that's
or-
what it is, right? They put stuff in place like that for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've had people sign up, promote it, and then somebody gets injured. It was a grappling match. I just scrolled to the bottom and signed it. They have those in place for fights a lot of times, but I've never seen one for a grappling match, so I just assumed, and that's my fault. But
Ask for forgiveness. Who cares, right?
yeah, they can't be that mad. I was just trying to get some practice.
No, and you know what? I think as a fighter, what are the consequences? They make you pull out. Yes, it sucks. You don't want to have to do that to fight to win. You got an opponent that probably bummed out that he's not able to grapple you on
I
short
got out of a
notice.
match before I pulled out.
So even better.
Yeah.
But like, you were able to get a whole bunch of additional promotion. So selfishly, like,
Yeah, that's what I was like trying to get the promotion. Well, like fight to win's a big thing. It was awesome. That's what I wanted. They have like a big stage, so I wanted to compete on a big stage prior to going to compete on, one of the biggest grappling stages. But obviously, should have waited to sign maybe or whatever. It is what it is. They'll come back. But yeah, it was a funny morning. Woke up, I'm like, oh man. Woke up, thought I had a match, and then I was like, fuck, I gotta deal with this now.
was your so wait, you sent me a screenshot of a message
Yeah.
that came from your manager. That came from that, like,
Came from the fight to win guy. I don't wanna get involved. Yeah, obviously
Yeah.
grappling, but yeah, it was people were upset. But again, it was my fault.
yeah, well,
Technically. But yeah, man. You guys were both at fight to win.
Yeah, I was
What was the biggest match that you remember? Like, what was the most competitive, the most memorable moment of the fight to win?
the one of my, I have to say Andy Anderson's match was good.
Andy?
Yeah,
Oh, you weren't
second,
I wasn't. I watched it
second to
online.
last match when he finished that with a heel hook.
there.
It was what we've been covering in
Yeah,
advanced
right.
class,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
was really
We've
outside
been
heel.
training at the gym for a while, so it was like textbook. So that was nice, and that was a real. Yeah, that felt like both competitors were really going after each other, really trying to get the submission on that. That was a good one. There was another one that I missed that it was a bunch of slams, but I
Dude.
I'd
Oh
walked
my
out.
God, I was
I'd
going
stepped
crazy.
away from that match, and so I missed that one. I was bummed on that. And so
Yeah, my boy J Pip. I was in the front row and I was going nuts. He kept picking the dude up and slamming him, and I was like, "Do it again." He like looked at me. He was like, picked him up, slammed him out. He took his back. I was like, "Don't throw your hooks in. Pick him up." And then he's like doing the same thing with Lucas Jones on the other side. It's so funny. Sage and Paul. That
Yeah,
was
that
probably
was a
my
good-
favorite.
yeah, that
I'm
was a good-
obviously super close with Sage. Paul trains with us a lot. Sometimes I'll train with Paul 2 to 3 times a week. Obviously both black belts. I knew that match was going to be super competitive. It literally came down to, I think Sage stole it in the last 2 seconds by getting his back.
Yeah.
It was a super close
yeah,
match.
that was good. There was, in fact, a lot of the people. There's a lot of stout fighters on that match, or grapplers on in those matches, and I thought everyone did really really well. All the stout fights were
Dude,
real
McKenzie.
exciting. Yeah.
Dog.
Oh yeah.
Dog. The only thing I'm mad about is why didn't Huda just walk on the stage and tie a belt? He just like
Yeah.
tossed it like it was a
Yeah, right.
I was like, what are you doing, bro? Just walk up there.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, he's created a little demon.
but she's good.
She's real good.
Yeah, that was sick. That was a sick match. I was super impressed. I didn't know anything about that girl.
Oh yeah,
So I've never seen her because Zealy's like the only gym I'm not really like affiliated with.
Obviously we're biased because we're from the north.
Yeah.
But I tell Lucas all the time, and I got to give everybody up there. I mean, Mike's there on Mondays, Warren's there on Mondays, setting the tone. Logan and Alex has created a culture up there. I don't want to take anything away from everybody else, but I owe Alex a lot because I don't think that his full coaching capabilities are even showing through because he's got some attributes that other people just don't have. And so like he'll try to teach me things. And I'm like, bro, like you don't understand. You're 6'3"
Yeah,
and you have these long arms and legs and you're just ridiculously strong and athletic. And so, yes, what you're saying makes sense, but I can't do that. I think when he starts to understand that and becomes an even better coach, I think the thing that he's done really well, though, is create a culture in the North that we're all one big happy family. But I say it all the time. I'm like, man, people need to continue. Like, there is value in cross training up in the North because as it pertains to just straight up grappling, I mean, there's great athletes. Jonas and Max trains up there all the time. So the striking's not any joke either. But there are some fucking very focused grapplers up there.
yeah. I think all their gyms have like their own thing. Obviously,
Like a little signature.
Yeah, Zelienople. It's one of the biggest, and I do think Alex, been a big part of creating a culture up there. He's been up there most consistently.
Yes.
Obviously Logan's up there now. Andy
Yep.
was up there previously.
Yep.
Mike goes on Mondays, Warren as well. But Alex is also super talented.
Yes.
So, it's awesome to see everybody kind of like backing him. I remember when he competed at the first 247 grappling event and he sold like a lot of tickets. And that was the first time I even knew Alex
I think
existed.
he's better than even he realizes.
Oh, he's way better than he realizes. And I think he's new to competing. And I think I would like to see him compete a lot more because he's so talented. And that's kind of the only way you get those competitive nerves out is just by competing,
Mhm.
So I think I would like to see him compete. Like it would have been nice to see him at Fight to Win. I know he deals with some injuries.
Yeah.
But I think he's competing soon.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like he is. I feel like he is.
Was he boxed before?
He did, yeah, before Stout.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, could you imagine him fighting MMA?
He'd be good, man.
Long, rangy.
Yeah, he's got that build.
Yeah,
He can-
he
if
did
he
a
can
lot. He
throw.
did a lot of boxing when he was younger, I think.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Mackenzie though it's fun to watch. I was talking to her dad. I don't think I'm sharing any like secrets, but I'm always asking, and we talk about it here. How do I not burn out my kids? Because they're into it. Mackenzie's been doing it for a while, and they've dealt with that. And aside from not being like a psychopath parent, he says when she doesn't want to train jujitsu, that a lot of times they'll go and rock climb.
So you're still getting something.
You're still getting something. You're getting grip strength. You're getting, like you're
that's
doing
smart.
something, right? And so I thought that was really interesting. I'm like, because I haven't had her grab a hold of my neck, but I've seen her grab a hold of other people, and I've heard from people they're like, you don't expect a teenage girl to grab a hold of you and actually be
Feel,
like,
yeah.
oh shit kind of moment, but
She's like a preteen. She's
Yeah,
like
she's what,
12,
Yeah,
12?
dude.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I don't think
She's-
she's 13.
Yeah, it's wild. But it was cool seeing I don't believe she was there, but the kids' belt promotions,
Mm.
right? Because I coach at essentially like 3 locations. A lot of the Bridgeville people go to multiple. But I was like, it's funny to me seeing them like collaborate, like them, like kids go against each other from different gyms, or I've always kind of like done it in my head.
hmm
And I played some bets and I won every one of them with Brian Mitchell on the kids matches. So obviously, I knew a little bit better. I had the inside scoop on that.
Fair.
But I went actually Derek, I also placed bets against. I went 6 for 6 on my kids'
Wow.
grappling matches.
Speaking of bets, I'm not going to pat myself on the
Dude.
back, but
The parlay. All right, well let's get into the UFC fight night.
yeah,
Let's get into it.
I was 9-bet parlay.
Wild. You only
8-bet.
put like $10 down, right?
I like logged. I'm kind of kicking myself, you know. I logged into my DraftKings. I'm like, oh shit, there's a fight night tonight, and I had a $50 balance in my DraftKings, and because I had won a bunch of bets on Sean Brady, like fights before, and I didn't. I usually I'm like, I'm not going to cash everything out. I'll leave a little bit of money in the account, and if something pops, like maybe there's a baseball or basketball game or a hockey game that I can throw some money on. You bet at all?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole
I
lot.
only bet if I'm like out and I'm at the event because it makes it more fun.
Yeah, it's definitely
like if I don't
fun.
care, you know what I mean? If I'm like at a baseball game, I'll be like, yeah, I'll bet.
not a
I'll
big
bet they hit
gambler.
it. I'll bet they. I don't either,
Yeah.
right? But I'll be like, I bet they hit it right now because it makes it a little bit more
I'm
fun.
stingy, so yes, I only bet $10. But what I do is I'll bet like 4 or 5 parlays. So
Yeah, this was crazy.
I knew that I usually pick a couple of underdogs to really drive the odds up, you know. But it was
That was a tough card too to do that with, right? There
was.
wasn't like huge names on that card.
it was definitely
Dude, how often do you watch UFC? Like super into it?
I'll catch like every third one or so.
He's a
I
degenerate.
kind
He
of,
doesn't. miss
yeah.
those.
I'm obsessed.
My problem is I'm too old. They're too late at night a lot of times.
Dude, oh my God.
And I just like
I went
can't-
out to watch, like not out, but I was at that place in Cranberry that has like the pool
Oh.
tables. Sensi's.
Oh, Sensi's, yeah, right.
Yeah, with my buddy Taylor. And I'm just sitting there drinking Diet Coke, obviously, you know, keeping my weight down and stuff,
Yeah.
having fun. And I'm like, it's fucking 1 a.m.
Dude,
When
it
does
gets
this end?
so
It's
late.
fight
Yeah.
night.
It was 8 pick, so it was plus 9,452 odds. I had Asmat
Nuts.
Bekov.
I love that you can't even pronounce
Yeah,
it.
against Ryan Loder. He was a 325 favorite, so I took him. He won. I took the dog in Yana Santos over Misha Tate, plus 140.
That was a good bet.
Yes, I
Misha
was
Tate.
like,
When
take
he
that
walked out
dog.
there, I was like, I thought she retired in 2020.
Yes. I took Mason Jones over Jeremy Stevens.
Good call. Also, pick the young buck.
Yep. Surrey Sidney. He was a favorite, just barely over Cameron Smotherman.
I actually, yeah.
I took
Good call.
Montel Jackson over Daniel
It was a
Marcos.
solid fight.
He was also the favorite. And this is where it started getting dicey. I was like, okay, I got something cooking here as they're all winning. D-Rod against Ponzinibbio.
That was the biggest.
I was like, fuck, man. Like, come on, D-Rod.
Hold through.
Hold it out in epic fashion.
Yeah.
Then I knew I was like, I've got this.
Yeah.
Even though I had RDR over Bo Nickel. I'm like, I was like, this is cakewalk, man. I have him, and then I need Sandhagen to win.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure enough.
So RDR Bo Nickel, how are you feeling about it?
I think RDR is a future champion.
I think RDR, I agree with that. I also think Bo Nickel's too small for the weight class.
Ooh, hot take.
He looked tiny compared to RDR in that cage. Tiny. And he was like playing some like social media BS, like acting like he was cutting a ton of weight. Bo Nickel like walks around like 200 flat, maybe less.
RDR looks like he walks around about 220.
Yeah. So like you're competing against somebody that's way bigger than you, has more experience. I don't think it's like the end of Bo Nickel by any means. I think everybody's kind of, you know, on the, you know, screw Bo Nickel train. But I also think that he's only 9 fights into his MMA career. To expect to be able to like compete against the best people in the world, you'd have to be the biggest outlier of all outliers. Like John Jones is maybe the only person that's ever done that.
How do you do against Keegan?
Keegan, I survive most of the time.
You survive.
Yeah, most of the time, unless he really wants to go hard.
He puts me on the other side of the mat, so I can't really speak to it.
But yeah, I never. I never wrestle with him, so I mean,
Let him come to you.
yeah, I let him come to me. I don't stand. I should say I never stand with
The
him.
Bo Nickel, and this is no disrespect to Keegan, but I told him and Alex this. There's some good open mats on Monday night, and it'll be like Keegan and Alex, and Alex usually gets the best of Keegan, and Keegan is a dominant wrestler.
Yeah.
And I looked at that RDR Bo Nickel fight very similarly, where RDR didn't seem one bit scared to go to the ground
Why
with
would he?
Bo, and Bo seemed they locked into a body lock early into that fight, and you could see Bo was like he had a couple of opportunities to throw RDR or to get a good single leg double. I mean, he didn't want to go to the ground,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting because I'm like, you don't have hands to throw, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think one thing that has happened over the last couple of years is the American wrestling hasn't been like, at the forefront of MMA, being the best. And I think a lot of the American wrestlers, and Bo Nickel was the head of this. He was talking a lot. He was like, we can come off the couch and beat all these Dagestani guys.
Mhm.
No, that's not how it works. It's MMA. To think that you even can out grapple these guys, out jujitsu. Like I have a match against a national champion. I took that in a heartbeat because I've done jujitsu at a high level
And wrestle.
and I wrestled, right? But I've done jujitsu at a high level as well as wrestling. Like I believe that my skills are, well, I almost find it insulting. But I think with them, it's the same thing. I think a lot of the like super high level American wrestlers, they just think the they just get a takedown and they don't know anything. They don't know how to pass guard. They don't know how to where to throw punches. And then they're ignorant in MMA. Like they don't know enough. You're not like gonna succeed if you don't know how to do the right thing. I just don't understand the thought process on not getting better, being that you're a wrestler, and it frustrates me a lot of times because it's such a good base for MMA, but we're not in 2005 where you could just get a takedown and win. Right. And even if you do, like, is that how you want to win? You just want to be the guy that gets a takedown and sits in guard for the whole fight? Like, I hate that. But, I think the people that are going to succeed the most in MMA are the people that transition, learn everything, right? That learn the rest of it. There's people that have done it. Henry Cejudo became a very good striker. Daniel Cormier became a very good
DC
striker.
became a really good striker.
Stipe Miocic, D1 wrestler, right?
John Jones.
The thing about these guys, excluding Henry Cejudo, they weren't like national champions. Like I think there's something to be said about the guys that were like they wrestled at a high level. They weren't the highest level, and then they were able to compete and try to like build. And it might be a mental thing, right? Trying to continue to get better. You didn't succeed in the sport you wanted to originally. But I think those guys tend to have the most successful careers if you look at it on paper.
I think Sean Brady beats Bo Nickel if they get into a cage.
Oh, I don't even
like,
think
I don't even
think
it's a fight.
I don't think
And I think Sean Brady would piece him up on the feet.
Sean
Obviously.
Brady's also a 170 pounder.
I think I think Sean Brady would control him on the mat. In a wrestling match with wrestling rules, Bo Nickel mops the floor. In a cage with all the other threats, I think Sean Brady looks like the better grappler over Bo Nickel.
It's grappling. It's not wrestling.
Yeah.
Wrestling is a piece of the pie, right? It's how you get the takedown, right? There's transitions in between. It's the scrambling and stuff like that. But you have to have like a knowledge.
I love seeing guys come into Zealy with a pair of baggy Under Armour shorts on. I'm like, you do jujitsu? He's like, no, I wrestled in high school. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
It means you're going to be willing enough to go.
You're going to come in
and bad positions.
Exactly.
Right?
You're going to be real aggressive.
I love going with wrestlers too.
Yeah.
But I think, that's just he'll get back if he does the right thing, right? And Bo's somebody, I've listened to he went on Ariel. He lost at the highest level a lot, right? He lost his true freshman year. He lost to Miles Martin, who he had previously beat the week before, or 2 weeks before at Big Tens. And then it's a very similar situation, right? He just like kind of didn't wrestle his best and Miles beat him. And then he I don't think lost a match since, like after that in the rest of his college career. So, he's one of the most competitive, highest level guys the UFC's ever had. He's got to pivot. He's got to do something different. He's got to learn the other aspects of grappling, the other aspects of striking. I would say his best bet would be to take 6 to 9 months off, learn, maybe compete in a, grappling UFC fight pass type thing, and engage in actual grappling.
Do you think he needs to get out of state college?
I think the best thing for him would be to go compete or go train at ATT, like the real ATT. I think he kind of, I don't want to,
Yeah, no, it's
you can't just be around people that are not challenging you. I don't know what I mean, I have some inside scoops, but I think I think he's wrestling a lot. I think that's not enough. But, I'm not Bo Nichols' coach, right? He has some of the best coaches in the world, like a phone call away is Mike Brown. He has all these guys from APT. He'll pivot. He'll figure it out. He's a high level competitor. He'll figure out how to win.
we were doing leg locks. I was telling Pat the thing that blew my mind. So like moving on from that was the Corey Sandhagen fight. Blew my mind that Figueroa would
Dude,
engage to go into the leg entanglements and then literally blow your knee out in a
well,
50-50 position.
so we've all kind of done a block on leg locks, and we're all like fairly new, right?
Right.
To leg locks.
Yeah.
Warren's been doing a ton of leg lock stuff with me.
Yep.
Preparing for my match. And one thing that I was like, what is Figgy doing? He's going outside heel hook. In MMA, outside heel hook is like the dumbest thing you can do. There's not really a ton of threat. And Corey ended up talking about this later. There's not really a huge threat, and I can punch you. But it doesn't like separate your chest from my chest enough. That's why it like you can kind of like heel over and punch a little bit on the outside heel hook, as well as like there's scrambles that you can do because it's not going to like go against your joints as much. And then when they were in 50-50, I think in the first round, Corey went for inside heel hook and didn't get it, or maybe this was right before he finished, and then he stood up. And he stood up kind of the way Mike's been talking about, right? Where Jets Florentino blew his leg out. I'm sure you guys right know that. He stood up with like good posture, chest out, facing towards his knee, and Figgy just tried to like muscle up and blew his leg. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. When people like don't understand, people don't care to learn grappling.
Right, yeah, because it looked like he had no idea that he was even
He didn't
like
know he was
doing
in danger.
Yeah, doing a dumb thing.
It looked like he just learned leg locks, like that, like he's taking our block and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go do it.
And
I'm gonna go in this UFC fight against Corey Sandhagen.
meanwhile, Corey trains with Ryan Hall.
He's trained with Ryan Hall for
Constantly.
3 years.
Dumb game plan.
And Corey, I don't think that was his game plan necessarily.
Corey
I
looked
think
way
Corey
bigger.
started fucking him up, and he was like, "All right, man, I'm Hail Marying it. I'm ripping heels today." And he didn't have like it was bad on Figgy's part. And Corey, let's give Corey props to going and learning leg locks from like the best leg locker in MMA history, I would say, is like kind of like not the there's a lot of attention you could put elsewhere, right? But he learned this. He went out and learned it, trained with Ryan Hall for a reason, and it won him a fight. It actually won. He lost to TJ, technically, but he blew TJ's leg out in the same way, same fashion, kind of. But it won him a fight, right? It's those little nuances and the things you learn along the way that win you fights at the highest level.
Corey Sandhagen is the epitome of a martial artist to me.
Yeah, that's Corey Sandhagen, and like you guys know, he's my favorite fighter, right? He is exactly who like I can model my game after. I've been told a lot I fight similar to him, which makes sense. I watch a lot of his stuff, and him competing at the highest level and doing the stuff he's doing only proves to me that I can go to the highest level as well. It's nice to see somebody with a similar style winning at the highest level because I know like that's the North Star I can get there, right? Especially he's what, 30
What's next for him? Do you think it's another
title
contender
shot.
fight, or do you think it's title
shot.
only?
I don't think it, how would it not be title shot? He fought a month before Sean and Merab. They fight. Merab wins. I think I've said this from the beginning. I think Sandhagen's the worst matchup for Merab, and I think everybody in the world wants to see Sean and Sandhagen fight. So it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Merab gets another. He gets a. The only caveat I would put on that is if Sean barely beats Merab, it's
Then they gotta run
controversial.
it
They
back
have to
again.
run it back. But I think then they would have Corey fight Jan, maybe. But I think it has to be a title shot. He deserved it. He deserves it. He really does deserve it.
Mhm.
And he's also like fought people that most people didn't want to fight. Like he fought Umar, he fought Vera when everybody was scared of Vera. Corey's I think the best 135 pounder in the world.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Throw Patchy Mix in there though.
Oof. Yeah, with
Patchy Mix with
dude,
Corey would be
still no
crazy.
fight. What the hell? It's so sad.
Yeah. It's rough.
Who's your favorite fighter, Pat?
Yeah,
Lucas Siebert.
Lucas Siebert. At the pro level, I obviously like the John Jones and I mean, that's, it kind of goes without saying. I mean, it's like, he's just so devastating.
Another dirty dog.
Yeah, he just gets out there and just like, you just wonder like, okay, how is he going to kill this guy today? I mean, it's just like,
Yeah.
he doesn't see, I mean, he doesn't seem to really care what the other guy's doing. He's got his game plan, and within the first round, you can just see he's like just taking it over and just dropping the hammer on the guy. So that's, I would have to say that's probably the first one that comes to mind. So that's it's funny. I enjoyed watching the first, like, Bo Nichols, the first couple fights he had were exciting, but then it felt like the last few fights he's done, like you said, he's just so stuck on like just trying to wrestle, and anytime he's not wrestling, he doesn't look comfortable out there. So
Yeah.
That's
I think that the Trump factor also blew Bo Nickel up a little bit. There's a lot of guys in the UFC who I think they don't have Bo's credentials as it pertains to like Penn State, national champ, but there's a lot of really good wrestlers. I think that Bo Nickel got an extra bump by being like standing there with Trump with his red hat on and smiling, and there was just extra hype outside of just the Penn State wrestling and fighting that made him a little bit more popular, like all-American. It's just at the same time that the whole country is shifting back to this like freedom, America, bald eagles.
Yeah, and we
American
want an
flags.
American champ. That's one thing I really, really want.
Yeah.
And the UFC is an American champ. But I also think that I don't know if Trump obviously probably had a little bit to do with it, but I think a lot of times your hype gets higher than your skill level.
right.
And if your hype's higher than your skill level, that's where this happens, right? You need to keep it along the line. Some really good examples of this are like O'Malley. O'Malley's hype was way higher than skill level at first. O'Malley kind of got blessed. He got banned for the whole the ban system. It was Austrian.
Oh, that's right.
He got
was
caught
it?
with Austrian in his system, and he got sidelined while he had an injury for 2 years, and he caught up his skill level to his height, and then his trajectory went up. Patty said no to the UFC twice. If Patty would have jumped in the UFC, had all that hype, I think he would have got exposed early. But he got to the point where his hype and his skill level matched up. Bo, his hype was a little bit higher than his skill level, right? And what's that do? That matches you up with people that are way better than you, right? So unless you're somebody that kind of just rises to the occasion, it's not gonna work, you know? But I think he'll pivot. I think he'll figure it out.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I just want an American champ.
Yeah.
Bald Eagles and
I love bald eagles.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, you started a little bit before me. I think you were training already when I started to get back into it in
January 21.
January of 21.
Just coming out of COVID. when I started.
Yeah, we started like right about that same time. I don't think I've ever asked you, like, what got you into it? And like, there's a transformation.
Yeah.
The
So,
hair, Pat's like an actual samurai a little bit, but like you're all in.
oh, I'm all in on jujitsu. It was fine. I was somewhere the other day and someone's like, so what do you do for fun outside of jujitsu? And I was like, I don't understand the question. But, but no, I, the journey actually started for me about 10 years ago now. I weighed just over 300 pounds, right around 300 pounds. And I decided I needed to start getting myself in shape. I worked all day from home, sitting at a desk,
Mm.
not paying any attention to what I eat, not doing any exercise, and telling myself I was perfectly fine and in good shape, and all the lies that you tell yourself. And so I started, I went through a whole journey of learning how to monitor my diet, starting to work out. It was an up and down battle. But then I finally figured out the diet, figured out the exercise thing, and I got down to about 230 pounds, but I was just doing like gym work, workouts. And I would go out and do biking. I like going out, like doing road biking and things like that. But I started looking out long term and saying, like, I'm not going to be able to keep up. Like, I've never been one that enjoyed going to the gym. Like, every time I'm in the gym, I'm watching the clock, how many more minutes do I have to sit here and do this exercise? So I was like, I needed to try something else. I started trying a bunch of different sports. And then, like a lot of guys, I was listening to Jocko Willing's podcast, and he was talking about doing jujitsu. And I was like, well, okay, I'll try it. And so I just looked up online. I found there was this gym about literally like 5 minutes from my house. And so I showed up. I went there one night, so all right, I'm going to try it. Showed up, place is empty. Well, that's when Stout had just moved to Zealy. So but the Google hadn't updated their map yet.
So still behind the like back by the PPG pit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I pull up there, there's nothing there. I was like, huh, okay. So I kind of figure it out. But then I showed up and it was fine. I went and I tried one class and I was like, this is it. And I went and after the first class, I went over and I was like, yeah, I want to sign up for the year. And they were like, well, you still have 2 free classes. I was like, yeah, I don't need the 2 free classes. I was like, I'm in. So,
yeah.
and then I started, and it was for about the first 6 months, it was miserable in the sense that just my body was not used to the pounding that you just take, just all that, and I remember one of the first, you kind of jump into the curriculum. And so they were on side control. And so like, I knew nothing, not how to frame, not how to do anything. And so, and of course I'm a bigger guy. And at that point I was still about 235. And so I'm getting paired up with these big guys in the gym and just getting crushed, for the first 6 months. But I was loving every minute of it. It's one of those things. It sucks, but it's great at the same time. And so that's how I just stuck with it. And I started, and it was funny because I remember, I think it's either because Tanner was teaching some classes and Mike was teaching at the time up there. So it was one of them, but they're like, hey, when you get started, you're going to really like this, if you really like it, but pace yourself, come 2-3 times a week. Don't come more than that to start. And that was really great. That was great advice to start because especially me being, I was 47 at the time.
You like in your early 50s now, right?
Yeah. So I was like 46, 47 when I started. And so my body just needed that time to like recover. And then, but like I said, after the first 6 months, I started figuring things out. It wasn't like drinking from a fire hose every time you went to the fundamentals class. You start understanding stuff. And then I remember I was like, all right, when I get my third stripe, I'm going to do a competition. And so I got my third stripe. I signed up for this I think it was a Naga competition. And I'd gone to one open mat before my first competition. So I went out there and just got destroyed, but it was great. It really unlocked the whole, I was like, okay, it's like a whole different level because but going back to the classes and the open mat after doing that one competition was like, everything made so much more sense to me and I could see where it was going. So
absolutely.
And then and that's been the 4 years ago now. So, and now, So that I've been training ever since.
4 years to purple belt. Started
Impressive.
at 47.
Yeah.
46.
Since 46, yeah. I turned 47 later that year. So
Sick. I wonder how many people Joe Rogan and Jocko Willink have got to do jujitsu. Like the number is insane. I mean, shit, me too.
You know,
Little bit.
you mentioned something when you first started about the like going to the gym. To me, I had this conversation last night with my wife. I had a buddy in town and we went and golfed. I used to golf a lot and I still enjoy golfing, but 4 hours out on the golf course, it's a lot of time to commit to being away from everything else that I do. So that's hard, probably the hardest thing for me. I get like, oh my God, I've got other shit I could be doing right now. And like, I just want to get to the ball and hit it again. Like, but when you're golfing, I think about all the conversations more often than not. It's kind of gossipy.
Mhm.
It's about like what shirt you're wearing and the clubs that you have and the car that you drove there and the job that you have. It's like it's the country club mindset. Not every time and not everybody, but it's very like clicky. There are people that I've met at jiu-jitsu and become friends with, and we have so much that we talk about. And then I've run into them on the street. And if I'm being honest, I'm like, I would have never been your friend
Yeah.
if I met you out on the street because I would have had a certain stereotype associated with you and I wouldn't have wanted to get to know you. But I got to know you through jujitsu, and there is no, would you drive here? It's just, it's real. It's not fake. You're choking somebody. You're building a bond. And like the friendships that I've made with people that I would have never, which then has exposed me to this whole new way of looking at the world. It's challenged my own way of thinking about things that I was like, in retrospect, I'm like, man, I had that wrong. I thought that I knew. And it was some like convict construction worker that like changed my way of thinking about something.
I love the gyms. This gym's special, obviously, but and you go to any gym in the country, it's like it's a fraternity. You know what I mean? And it's like it's cool. And I think a lot of it comes like humans naturally, like it's a natural thing. It's like play fighting, right? You watch
Yeah.
any animals, they play fight all the time. Like tigers are play fighting, right? So I think that's what this is. That's why it's so addicting. It's in our human nature, right? It's like it's like it has that life or death kind of feel, but it's obviously
Right.
you're not gonna die, right? But it has that play fighting thing where it becomes like addicting because it's in our nature to do it, and opposed to like golf, which is a game, right? And you can talk a lot and stuff. When you're doing jujitsu, you can talk a little bit of shit, but like you have to be focused, right? Especially if you're going hard because like there's danger that is associated with it. And then obviously like I love the fact that you just brought it up. Like there's convicts and cops in the same room. There's 25-year-old pro fighters and 50-year-old IT guys. There's like it's such a cool thing. And we all have this like common goal, and we want the best out of each other. It's like, hey, how'd you hit me with that wrist lock? Oh, here's what I did. Right. And you can grow from each other. You can learn from each other. It's such a like unique place that adults don't have. Like adults just do not have that in the real world. And it's a special thing.
There's a guy, I'm not going to say his name, but you'll know who I'm talking about probably. But I remember I was like, he drives a big dump truck. He'd show up in his yellow vest and he's just covered in grease. He'd go in, hop in the shower, and then we'd go out and train, and he would fucking bring it all the time. And I was like, dude, you are just a tough son of a bitch. He started telling me about his childhood and like some of the things that he went through. And I'm like, fuck, bro. Like he had like parents putting cigarettes out on his neck and shit. It's just like there's just a whole different level of toughness. And I'm like, what did you get in here? And he's like, well, I was looking for family. I was just looking for like connection and community. And I was a prospect for a biker gang, a 1%er biker gang for like 8 months. And then I started to realize that I was going to end up in prison. And he's like, so I thought jujitsu might be a better path. I'm like, fuck, bro. But it's like, if I would have seen this dude outside, I would have probably got to the other side of the street, you know? But in there, I'm like, yeah, no, it makes sense. And you're a good guy. You're like, you're not a bad dude. You need this. And I actually think that going there and being able to crack skulls a few days a week and like, I mean, dude, he would club me in the head. He would just do everything and just a little firecracker.
Yeah, that it's such a unique thing. And then like kids growing up in it, they learn that. They learn that like, hey, this dude has face tats, but he's like not a piece of shit. Like he's a good guy. Like he's so nice.
Yes.
Right. He might even be my coach. One of my favorite things about being a youth coach is when the parents find out that I'm a pro fighter. Because like that's not like written in the fucking thing. They don't know. And then they're like, wait, Lucas has a fight. Lucas is a pro. He's undefeated pro. And they're like the same kid that's like been cracking jokes about cartoons. Like he's a pro fighter. I had a completely different perspective of pro fighters.
Yeah.
Right. And I love watching it like click. Obviously people that come into jiu-jitsu kind of have a different mindset typically. But you'll see people that their perspectives change too, like families, right?
Well, there's some grandma and grandpas that come and watch their young kids, and I'm standing there and I start to see them, and you see them a couple of times, and you're like, I know my grandmother. She couldn't even say the word. She's like, "Is Hendrickson you guys going and doing that juju boo?" Or and I'm like, yeah, grandma.
Yeah, my grandma would not. My grandma still asks if I have a wrestling match when I'm having fights. So you got a wrestling match coming up? I'm like, if that's what makes your heart feel better.
Yes, I do.
Then yes, I do have a wrestling match.
Yeah, wrestling with some different rules.
Yeah, I do have a wrestling match.
I love it. You're gonna keep doing it.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna go until the wheels come off.
Yeah, why not?
He's getting his black belt.
Exactly. That's the goal. That's
Absolutely.
just show up. So yeah, no, I train now. I'm training about 5 days a week most weeks. So sometimes 6, just depends on the schedule.
I need to step it up, Lucas.
That's and what's great about the gym too is having the multiple locations is like I go down and you mentioned cross training earlier, and like going down, I train down at the strip a couple days a week, and then it's just a different, there's a lot more gi focused down there gi focused stuff down there. So that's where I like wrestling, doing it with the gi. So I get that, and then I get the no gi training up in Zealy, and
so we do have a lot of no-gi.
Yeah, it's real no-gi heavy up in Zealy, which is fine.
I'm not going to complain.
Yeah,
I like both. So
I like I've rolled with you in a gi, and I don't wear a gi off. I don't compete in a gi really, and but it's cool. It's like it's our like way of communicating. You know what I mean? It's like I've actually never rolled with you, but like I know it'd be fun. You know what I mean? It's just like a way to communicate. It's a different way to communicate. It's so like it's special.
I'd never dance with a guy, but I'll definitely get on the mat with you and like tell us a similar story.
Yeah, martial arts it's special. Muay Thai is the same way. You have a lot of people that just like, they don't want to touch people, so they fight and do Muay Thai. It's the same thing. It's like play fighting. Right? It's such a special thing, and just like it brings together a community of literally thousands of people in Pittsburgh.
We've thought about like as our family grows and just it's like I always do try to put the family first, but selfishly we've talked like I grew up in a really small little town up on the New York and PA border. It's a lot cheaper to live there. I work remote. I do whatever I want, but I'm like, I wouldn't have that jiu-jitsu community there.
Yeah.
And that has been like, not the only reason, but it's the thing that pops into my mind right out of the gate where I'm like, I don't know that I could even consider leaving right now because what would I do?
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that.
Yeah. Not even like selfishly for you, obviously being somebody that has a family and
kids.
It's like, your kids, you want your kids to be a part of that community as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's, I could go train at one of these like big grand gyms with cool names, but like, I'm gonna have like a lot of fighters and shit, but like I'm not gonna have like feel like I'm actually doing something for the world and like providing a sense of community, having an actual job.
Well, I think that community is what helps push you through when you don't want to be there too. 100%. When you're going to go see your friends and you got a whole separate side of it than just the jiu-jitsu. I mean, half of the times at open mat, I enjoy, busting my head off somebody and getting Pat to slam me around a little bit, but taking a round off and sitting on the side and just catching up with somebody and talking about life.
Yeah.
That's
that community part is definitely definitely there.
I mean, dude, this guy shows up. My son did a lemonade stand last year, and I just like mentioned it online, and like fucking Pat shows up. Like it was the jiu-jitsu community that came out and supported my son. It's just like you start to realize, like, huh,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
I mean, we talk about, stuff like that. Like Pat has helped me a tremendous amount in my career being a sponsor and just like, it has helped me through. I mean, when I moved here, I literally I was sleeping
Like
on
a
the
lone
floor.
wolf.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody either, right? And it got me through that, got me into my professional ranks. I'm just seeing like people that I don't even really like. Me and Pat didn't talk much,
Yeah.
right? And he just wanted to support me, and he didn't ask for shit. He still hasn't like, there's a lot of people in this game and they're like, yeah, here's
Hey, can
some
you get me some free tickets?
here's some money. Here's some money. Also, can I get like 5% of all your earnings for the rest of your life? I'm like, what the fuck? And people that like genuinely want to help out, they want to see, people succeed. They want to see even it just that community. It's such like a special thing, right? That we're trying to pursue something, all of us individually, but I get a lot of backing from, I'm trying to take on literally the whole fucking world. Every 135-pound guy in the world, I want to beat up, right? And Pittsburgh's like the stout community is like, how can I help you accomplish that, right? And it's such
It's
a
an
special
empowering thing, isn't
It's
it?
yeah, dude, it's like it's so special. It makes you go to practice when you don't feel like it, makes you work harder, makes you like not eat like shit when you could, and it's a really special thing, and like I thank you for all that you've helped me with.
Yeah.
And I plan on continuing to, go and competing at the highest level, bringing this gym, bringing these local companies to the world stage. Like that's my goal, is to have this gym, people be like, that's where that little gym out of Pittsburgh, and now they're competing on the world stage. That's
Mhm.
my goal.
Making it happen, brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no
And
problem.
dude,
It was fun.
we gotta
Yeah,
talk
this is
about
sick.
this. Like I need to
Yeah.
talk to my wife when I get home and let her know that she's going to be carrying a Byrna.
Yeah. Well, and
Okay.
hopefully too, like I said, once we get the store opened up here in a couple months, it's under construction right now.
Where at in Zealy?
Well, it's just north, just, and it's actually in the Harmony, that Bilo Plaza right
Oh,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So it's in that same plaza.
Like right over the
Bilo.
bridge
Yeah.
and then like,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's gonna have
Dude, so
and like I said, we're gonna have a demo area where you can come in and try them out, and shoot them before you buy them, and see what they're all about.
Can
But
you
yeah.
do like a red dot on those?
Yep.
Or, like they
Yep.
sell accessories.
Yeah,
and stuff like
exactly.
that?
Yeah, if you look, this one has a little attachment on the front.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
Yeah, you can do a red dot or a.
What's the company called?
later. It's Byrna.
That's hilarious. By
Byrna.
the way, like a Byrna. I love it. It's sick.
Very
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, so we're getting ready to open that up, and we'll see where it goes. Hopefully it's a new venture for us, but hopefully it works out. It's my first time in 28 years of marriage that my wife and I are going to be working together. So we've always had our own businesses, but separate businesses. So, which
Good
I
luck.
always said was a smart plan, and so now I've disregarded my own advice, and we'll see how it
Terrifying.
goes.
Good luck.
Oh God,
Hell yeah.
that's sick though.
It'll be great.
Dude, I went to Zealy and I've never